Hello everyone. Um, I thought I'd make a video today of me making some fruit tea or some herbal tea that I found in my tea cupboard. Uh, and I thought it would be a very good video for me to prepare and brew and drink this tea and for you all to join me. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon, and I guess it's a nice thing to do on a Sunday afternoon, and there's lots of nice sounds involved in doing such a thing. I've not got a script for this. I thought I'd just make it a bit off the cuff. Sometimes that works out better, sometimes it doesn't. And I also thought I might do a bit of rambling in between the preparation and drinking of the tea. And I'm sorry, I'm recovering a little bit from a head cold that I had over the last few days. This is the first sort of day that I felt pretty good and my energy's almost back to normal. So if I'm a little bit bunged up, I am a little bit, but I'm much better than I was, and hopefully maybe even this tea I'm about to make will help. So I suppose let's get started. So the tea that I've got here is one I've had for some time, and it's from Switzerland, and I think if my German is right, it's called Island Dream, and it's a fruit tea, tropical fruit tea, and it has maracuja, mango and peach taste in it. And also on the bottom the ingredients also list hibiscus and apple pieces, and I can see pineapple, mango, sunflowers, as well as some other nice tasting things. So I've not opened it before. This is the first time I think I've tried this type of tea, and so I think the packet gives some nice crinkle sounds, which I might just try. Yeah, so I literally have a cupboard full of different types of teas that I've collected over the years from places that I've visited, and I've tried some of them. And I think this tea in particular is one that could also be drunk as an iced tea. I have another favourite from the same company, which is nice as an iced tea as well, and it has quite a lot of alpine flowers and herbs in it. But it's something that I do like doing, is experimenting with various types of teas and the flavours that come from them. And this one, obviously, I'm going to have hot, because it's still not really the weather to have iced tea here. So yeah, and this company that I bought it from have a wonderful shop in the city of Bern in Switzerland that I visit quite often, and it is just the most wonderful emporium of teas, of all different types of tea, green tea, black tea, fruit tea, all the different types of leaves, and they mix them up and make them themselves. So yeah, so this is very good. So that's the tea. I also have the teapot that I'm going to use. I just bought this quite recently. It's a stump teapot, a kind of Japanese style teapot, and it has a metal infuser, and you can put loose leaf tea or tea bags in there and let it steep. Also, I think it makes nice sounds as well. Sorry, that was a bit, but I think it makes quite nice sounds. So this is the yellow coloured stump teapot. I chose the colour deliberately because I liked it, and it was a bit better than a boring black or white or neutral coloured teapot. So it's really only enough for a single pot of tea, but yeah, I've used it a few times, and I like the internal metal fuser that's very robust and sturdy, I suppose, to use. We've also got the cup. This is a Bodum cup. Quite unusual looking cup. It has a rubbery plastic grip, I suppose you could say. But it's sort of china. Looking nice. So obviously that's the receptacle to be drinking out of. Measuring spoon, and also just a little tin that's been used before that I put the tea in once it's been opened. Okay, so also I have boiled some hot water in the kettle, which is held in this flask jug at the moment. And obviously when I put the tea together, which is I put the tea elements into the teapot, boiling hot water that's in here, you then infuse for about 5 minutes or so, maybe a bit longer, to take up all the flavours. So that's all the component parts to make a nice cup of tea. So I guess we should probably begin. So I'm going to need the tea infuser, sorry, to pop all the tea in. And this is always a fine balance of how much to get in here and how much to have of your tea that you're putting in. Too much and the tea becomes a bit bitter and a bit sour, and too little, you have then effectively what is just lightly flavoured hot water and not proper tea in any sense of the word. So measuring out how much to put in here is always a bit of a trial and error. When I first used this teapot quite recently, I used some pear tea that I had in the cupboard, and I pretty much filled it maybe 3/4 full, and even that was a bit too much. It did kind of spoil the taste a little bit, so we'll maybe be looking to put tea to about this level, just maybe slightly under half into the teapot, which will then obviously fill with water. So I suppose that's the next thing to do, is measure out our tea. Apologies, I'm not very graceful with this kind of thing, as some people might be, so I'll probably spill quite a lot over the tablecloth, and that's just the way I am, unfortunately. So I'll just put this lovely bag. and it smells very tropical, very, very tropical. I think that could probably even do a nice tropical punch if you had some alcohol. Very, very nice smells in there. Very good flavours I think will come through from that. So I suppose we'll maybe just mix the tea up a bit. It's been sitting for a little while. Okay. Go down the bag a little bit. I think we might just have one more. Okay, so there's the tea. Okay, let's put it into the teapot, and I suppose the next thing to do, move things out of the way a little, would be to fill it with the hot water and try not to scald myself. Good luck with that one. Okay, so we'll just pour the water. Just want it to come out, spill out a little bit. Okay, I'll not fill it completely full. Just give a little bit of a stir. And we'll leave it to brew for a little while. So yeah, so whilst the tea's doing that, I thought I would maybe give you a bit of a background on how I got into ASMR, how I've developed with it, I suppose, into now creating a little bit of content. Like a lot of people, I suppose, I've had it for all of my life, although until about 5 or 6 years ago it wasn't known as a kind of thing. It was something that you just had, that was just part of your personality, I suppose, part of your life experience. And I think probably the first experiences I would ever have with it would be as a child, and being at school. One sound that I do remember in particular that gave me, I think, what we could probably very much define as ASMR was in the days I was at school, teachers used whiteboards, and they used squeaky pens on the whiteboards, and those always gave me the tingling sensation when I was in lessons and things were being written on the boards, and if a particular teacher had a particular technique, it would perhaps be squeakier than normal, and that was very much a very significant early ASMR experience for me. But there have been many others when people have done various things and made sounds with objects. Also, when I was a child, I had to get a lot of work done on my teeth. I had to have a lot of dental work because my teeth, when they grew in after my baby teeth, when my adult teeth grew into my mouth, they didn't sort of grow in any structured order, which meant that I had to spend quite a lot of time visiting orthodontists in the hospital and getting corrective work and dental surgery to make my teeth relatively presentable. So I guess probably those experiences really did have an influence on me, and I very much like the whole personal attention and the feelings and the sounds of some of that, which some people would think is very, very weird. Why would you like the dentist or the orthodontist or anything like that? But I think it was part of my conditioning when I was growing up, and I learned not to be frightened of it, I suppose, which helped. And I suppose that's probably why I would say that medical-related ASMR, such as that, is probably one of my favourite types in that sense. If you're in the dentist chair and you're numbed up or whatever, it can actually, or I found it quite pleasant and very relaxing, which has continued to this day. Although I still only go to the dentist. I now only have to go once every 6 months, and hope that I don't have to spend too much money on getting a lot of dental work. But I suppose just the personal attention element of it, the sounds, really did, do a lot for me when I was growing up, and that's continued to this day. So that's probably one of my favourite themes, is the medical, surgical, dental related stuff. Other than that, I do like some of the content that's just quite what we call lo-fi, and that's just using objects to make sounds, like I'm doing here, or even just everyday ambient sounds, like being in a shop or in a cafe, or walking along the street, or being on a plane or a train, and just listening to the sounds round about it. I just find that very comforting, and I think a video I discovered a number of years ago, probably before I discovered what ASMR really was a video of somebody walking through the streets of Boston in the US, and just hearing all the sounds of the chatter of the people who are passing, or the cars, or the sound of birds, or just the general hubbub of city activity during the day. If somebody was walking through these streets, was just amazing, and I really, really like that theme as well, particularly where there's busyness, and that's very unusual, because as a person, I don't really like going to places that are very, very busy with lots and lots of people. So going to like sports games, or going on a crowded train, or being in a parade where there's lots of people, or a street party or something like that. I actually don't like that. I don't like the sense of being sort of claustrophobic, I suppose you could say, although I'm not claustrophobic, but just I don't like those kind of environments. But to watch it on a video, I find very comforting, and I think that's quite unusual, but also quite interesting as well. I tend to shy away from crowds because it's not an environment that I find very comfortable. So yeah, I think that was probably the first video experience I had some years ago, before ASMR was a thing on YouTube. And I think I'm trying to remember what my first proper ASMR video was, or the first proper ASMR artist I found. And I suppose, yeah, in later times it was all of the sort of big names. But there was one content producer in particular who doesn't sadly make any ASMR videos now. He's not made any for a good few years. But back in about 2014, he made some character-based ASMR videos. His name was Infinite Existence. and I think that was probably the first, somehow I stumbled on his channel. It was the first introduction I had to ASMR, and it just sort of grew from there. And I've watched a lot of content. It's helped me relax, yeah, it's constantly evolving, and I really do enjoy it. And I suppose that's why now I've tried to move into the field of actually making content and giving something back to the wonderful ASMR community and the people who are part of it. There's many wonderful, supportive people, not just people who make videos, but people who comment as well. And it's what makes it a really vibrant place. And I've just noticed that there's a fly flying about in here as well, so apologies for that. I've had the windows open today to let some fresh air into the building here. So yeah, I just thought I would give a little sort of potted history on where I've come from in ASMR, and I probably missed quite a lot of it out, and why I've come to where I am here, and a completely unstructured, unscripted ramble. So apologies if that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. So I suppose we can maybe have a look. We've maybe brewed our tea for a few minutes. I'll try not to spill it. I think it has a nice reddish tinge to it. Not too red, I hope. I suppose I'll give it another minute or two, and I'll attempt the very dangerous task of conveying the remaining tea into the tin, and this is all going to go horribly wrong. I do like these tea caddies there. The paint's chipping off them. I've had them for some years, but they're very effective in just storing loose tea, and they have quite a tight lid, which is also makes good sounds. And I can't slightly get it off, but so let's try and do this with some decorum. Okay, there we go. Oops. There we go, the tea's in there. Almost like having a set of maracas. So yeah, tea's in there. We now have a empty crinkly bag. I do like crinkling sounds a lot. I think probably my top two triggers related to what I probably said earlier on are probably crinkling sounds and bubble wrap, rubber gloves, and squeaky pens, I suppose, as well on whiteboards, as that's the main kind of early triggers, I think, that I probably remember as being triggers or ASMR triggers in my mind. So I suppose now we can try and pour some tea. Again, this might go horribly wrong, but hopefully not. Bring it right up so you can hear. Hopefully you can see that nice crimson red colour. And the smell, let me smell. It smells very fruity. It looks like it's the right colour. Not too dark red, sort of deep blood red, and then you've stewed it either too long or you've put too much tea in, so it's a kind of a sort of, I would call it a milky red colour, a crimsony colour. Obviously it's smelling wonderful here, so let's just have a taste. And that's absolutely lovely. It's really nice. I can really taste I can taste the peach. I think probably is the first flavour. I can also taste the apple. Yeah, it's. I'm not very good at describing how things taste. I know people do reviews on things that they taste, like wine or coffee or tea or anything or food, I suppose, as well. I'm not very good at describing tastes, but I can certainly taste the fruit in this tea. I can tell you it's absolutely delicious. It's really, really nice. I can also tell it would make a very good iced tea if you wanted to have it cool or over ice in the summer to cool you down. You don't need to add any honey or sugar, or you can if you want to make it sweet, but as it comes out of the teapot, it's perfectly fine, and very nice, lovely, nice tea, very relaxing tea as well. I do also drink coffee, probably more as a stimulant when I'm at work or first thing in the morning to kind of give me that caffeine dose that's required to get you started and to get through the day. I do drink quite a lot of coffee. I think I should probably cut down on my coffee intake, and that's where maybe drinking more tea comes in. Looking at all the various different brands and types of tea, possibly as a way to cut down on coffee consumption, because coffee's not very good for you, except when you need to wake up in the morning. Yeah, I think I do need to drink more tea, and this is a good way to do it. And I really do like my little stump Japanese style teapot, which is very nice. There's some loose tea there to put in the bin. So yeah, that's where we are. I'm not showing my face at the moment. I've had a few comments on some of my other videos that I should do so. I suppose as I make more content and become more comfortable with what I'm doing, I will. I don't particularly think anybody's missing anything. I think I've got a face for radio, which is quite good in this instance. But yeah, as I maybe improve on what I'm doing, that's maybe something that I'll do. And particularly at the moment, as I say, I'm just recovering from a cold, so I'm not probably looking the best anyway. So yeah, and sometimes when I've filmed videos in this apartment, my neighbours upstairs have been very noisy. Thankfully, so far they've not been too noisy today, which is really good, even though it's a Sunday afternoon when people tend to be at home doing things. I can also hear that my laptop, which I'm just filming off my laptop, which is in front of me here, so I'm not really actually seeing what I'm filming. This could be a complete disaster when I get to the end of it and realise that I've pointed the camera the wrong way, or it's been zoomed in or out or whatever. So it could probably go in the bin and you may not see this. That'll be something I'll take a judgment on once I've finished. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just going to see how it turns out, I suppose. But it's very low tech. It's just my laptop that's filming here, and the fan is revving away. I can hear it, and probably you might be able to as well. So yeah, it's that's where we are. But this tea is just lovely. I'm really enjoying it. Very tropical tasting. Well, it was just a quick video, and it was thrown together at the last moment. So a bit of a ramble from me. I'll give you a rest from my tones, and yeah, I'll thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the not too distant future. Thanks.